Joining us now, a guy that is worthy of a ridiculous offense distinction himself. Gary Sheide, one of the all-time BYU great quarterbacks and a guy that helped pioneer BYU's pass-happy offense under the legendary Lavelle Edwards. Gary, you've graciously stepped aside from some of your summer fishing time to discuss BYU football.
This is a big deal.
We thank you for prioritizing BYU Sports Nation.
Well, Jeremy and Spencer, you guys do such a good job. I'd stop fishing for maybe a half an hour to talk with you, and then I'll get back to fishing. How's that?
That is saying something. Gary Sheide with us. Hey, Gary, we were just talking about Taysom Hill and Jamal Williams and them literally carrying the load for BYU football. What kind of impact do you feel Taysom Hill should have running the ball specifically this year?
Well, what's interesting, when you look at the statistics from last year, and you just kind of summarize what really happened with the top players on the team, you come up with this. Taysom averages about 18 runs a game and throws the ball about 33 times a game. So he's going to be giving the ball off to himself or passing the ball 51 times. And then Jamal Williams averaged 18 runs a game. So they kind of have an equal run responsibility there, but that's 70 plays. Now, in most colleges, games, if you have 70, 80 plays, that's probably as many as you're going to get in the game. But BYU's strategy is to try to get 90 to 100 games. So that leaves approximately 20 to 30 other touches for other players. So getting back to your question, Jeremy Spencer, I think, Taysom, I think he needs to carry the ball maybe 10 to 15 times a game, but then he's going to break runs when plays break down that are designed passing plays, and that's when he becomes the most dangerous. Kind of like Steve Young. When Steve was in the pocket and a play broke down, from a coaching standpoint, you said, that's good. I'd almost rather have this play break down because then Steve gets in the open field with 7 guys in coverage that had to catch him. So I think that's what Taysom really brings to the table is when the play breaks down, he is so dangerous in the open field. And that's where he becomes really effective.
So what I'm gathering, Gary, is you're okay with Taysom Hill still running the ball a good number of times. Jeremy and I are on the same page when it comes to we thought he ran the ball too much and he took too many hits last year, but we certainly don't want him to, per se, say cut that in half. We still want him to carry the ball a lot. Am I right in saying that you are comfortable with Taysom still running the ball a good number of times, maybe just a little less than last year?
Well, let me kind of qualify it. I think when you're playing the really good teams, that's when you're going to need Taysom to carry a heavy load. When you're playing maybe,
Connecticut,
teams like Nevada or, Middle Tennessee, Savannah State, the lower tier teams, that's when you kind of pull off. So when you really need him in the critical games, that's when he gets the high number of touches. Otherwise, I don't think you need to have, 10 runs a game that are planned are plenty. I think, and then the plays that break down, there'll be another possible 5 in there. But again, the key when they're playing the good teams, that's when he carries a load. Against the lower tier teams, you slack off and give it to everybody else, so he can stay healthy through the year.
Gary, would it be a bad thing if Taysom Hill had more carries than Jamal in 2014?
Well, it depends on who you ask. If you ask a quarterback then that likes to run, the answer is no. It's good. You want to get the quarterback that the carries.
Yeah.
But if you want to
what do you
save
think?
your quarterback, well, for me, I'd rather give it to my running back. I mean, Jamal Williams is such a weapon. And then you've got Algernon. What is it?
Algernon Brown.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that gets tremendous. And Hine and Lasike gets, positive yardage. You got Elisa.
They return everybody. Well, Elisa's now a linebacker, but you have everybody back with running back.
Yeah, so you've got a lot of options there to spread the ball. But BYU, the question is, do you want them to be running back by committee, or do you want to get it in the hands of guys like Williams and maybe Brown, just a few of them? And I think you take your main guys, but when you run 100 plays, even if Taysom carries a lot, Jamal carries a lot, you still got 30 other plays you can give to running backs at situational times.
Yeah.
And then what happens in practice time, these guys really work hard because they want to get in the games, and it makes everybody a better player when you get the players into the game situationally to get touches.
Gary Sheide, legendary BYU quarterback on BYU Sports Nation, also one of our BYU TV analysts. A lot has been said about the leap that quarterbacks take in their second year of starting. Taysom now makes that leap from his sophomore to junior year, where he's still the guy and has been from the last game they played in the bowl game. Like, there was no question that he was going to be the guy. What kind of a leap do you think he will make in his progression as a quarterback?
Well, what happens is things start to slow down on the field. In other words, when you have your keys that you're reading, you're able to pick them up quicker, and the game just slows down, so your decision process becomes much, much better. And over time, with Taysom's, had the experience in these past couple of years here, it gets better and better and better. And now I think what you're going to see with Taysom is he's going to develop a little touch. He's working on that right now. When he throws maybe a 5-yard little crossing route, he won't throw it 90 miles an hour. He might take a little bit off it, and you'll know right off the bat, in the coverage, if someone goes to a certain area, then he knows right away where he's supposed to throw the ball. And that's the key to the West Coast offense is your keys. You read every play, every pass route. You have a key that you're reading. And if that person goes a certain way, you come to the other player. So he will pick that up much quicker, and I think his passing percentage will go up. At the start of last year, I think you remember the first 3 or 4 games, he was completing at probably a 40-something% clip. And then as the season went on, he ended up hitting almost 54% of his passes. And guys like Steve Young, just as a comparison, Steve was up to 70%. My goal was always 60%. You needed to be at least 60%. And I think that's a good goal for Taysom to have this year, is improve that percentage to 60%. And I think it can happen as he goes through his progressions, learns what the throw should be quickly, and make those throws, because he's got a great arm, a really strong arm, but he just needs to learn that progression, and I think he'll do that, and I think you'll see that this year. His percentage will go up.
What role does play calling play in assisting Taysom and making sure he has easy throws to make? It seemed like when BYU was a machine offensively that there was always an open guy. It just seemed like BYU was doing something right in that regard. The past couple of years, it seems like it's been more of a struggle. Why do you think that has happened?
I think it's the learning curve. What happens is you might see a play that BYU runs. It might run 3 plays in a row without looking like anybody had a call, because it's exactly the same play that has 3 options off of it. It might be a run for Taysom. If the linebacker does a certain drop as he approaches the line of scrimmage, it might require a pitch to Jamal if that linebacker hits him, or it might require, if the linebacker doesn't hit Taysom and he goes to Jamal, that he hits the wide receiver. So one play could be called 3 times in a row, same play, but you have 3 options off that play. So that's the thing that puts the defense in a real bind. Is that when you have a system that has 3 or 4 options off of one play, whatever the defense does is wrong. So I think play calling is going to be critical. You've got to get the quarterback a chance, first of all, I believe in the start of the game, to get his confidence up. Give him some sure passes. If you go through the passing tree of what they've done through the season, you'd probably find on a certain play they hit 80% of the passes. On another play, they hit 75%. On another play, maybe they got big plays, but they only hit 40%. So you don't want to start out just going with the big gambles and maybe the more risky plays. Get the quarterback's confidence. Get him ready. Get him comfortable in the pocket. Short, quick throws, and then you progress as the game goes on. So I think those are some of the things that Coach and I and Taysom and Beck have learned just through the last year of experience with Taysom, and they'll get better and better at it.
And those easy throws, I think, will be there for BYU this year, because I think Devon Blackman and Jordan Leslie on the edges, on the perimeter, create easier throws where they can get yards after the catch. BYU hasn't really had that in its offense recently. What kind of difference will that make for the offense to be able to have that available?
Jeremy, you're pretty good at this stuff. You have
Thanks,
a pretty good eye on that. I like that. What really happens there is that you get guys like Blackman that can stretch the field. And if nothing else, if you've got that kind of speed, it requires safeties to drop deeper, corners to drop deeper, whoever's got the deep outside, which then opens up the field so much more and opens up the underneath route. So even if the speedy receivers aren't catching the ball, they're still valuable because they stretch the field and open it up. That's what they're looking at here, is just, use these, fast receivers, not only to have the deep threat, but to open that field for the quarterback to make these routes that will look wide open at times.
former BYU quarterback Gary Sheide and BYU TV analyst on BYU Sports Nation. Gary, you were the quarterback for Lavelle Edwards' pass-happy offense in 1973 and 74. You were the number 2 passer in the NCAA at that time. Certainly a man who understands how to throw the ball. When you examine Taysom Hill's game, what does Taysom need to do specifically to become a better passer fundamentally?
I think, first of all, he's such a good runner, and you never want to take that away from a gifted athlete like that. But sometimes you got to just tell Taysom, this is going to be a pass. Go through your progression, sit in the pocket, and step up, and let the guys go by you. And we used to work in a lot of drills where you bring people at the quarterback. When you run 7-on-7, you don't just throw into receivers against defensive backs. You bring some pressure on the quarterback, and you work on stepping up. How do you step up right? How do you step up left? How do you step up forward? Once you do step up, how do you escape to the right, escape to the left? All these type of things. But all the time while you're doing that, you're looking downfield to throw as opposed to run. So if he learns these principles, and all the good NFL quarterbacks have that, the really good college quarterbacks have that ability to step up, avoid the pressure, prolong the play, and then stay with it. Give your receivers a chance to get open, and then make the play. And I think that's what Taysom will get better at this year.
Jamal Williams had 217 carries and 1,233 yards for BYU last year, the 5th most rushing yards in a single season. What do you see Jamal doing this season, Gary?
I give him the ball. He's just out of the backfield. I think he had about 20 catches or something like that. So I say out of the backfield, give him maybe more touches, as a receiver. But in a running back situation, when you put just a quarterback and a running back out there, and you spread the field with 3 or 4 or 5 wides, trips or doubles, whatever it is. Now, how many guys stay in the box? And that's what you count. Is there 6 guys in the box? Is there 7 guys? Is there defending with 5 guys? And they'll switch it up every play. You do count the box, and then these plays become automatic. If you put 5 guys in the box, you've got 5 guys blocking, and they're defending with 6. Then you have a running play call for Jamal. So it's not a pre-called play maybe in the huddle, but you're reading the box, and then you go Jamal, 5-on-5 with the line, coming up, off tackle or wide or whatever the play is. Then it's just it's a big mismatch because Jamal will oftentimes make the first guy miss. Also, what do you look at after contact, yards after contact? Those are critical numbers. And Jamal, how many times do you see him break a tackle? So spread the field, count the box, give him the touches, and, I would just give to a gifted running back like Jamal Williams.
It's a good problem to have when Taysom Hill and Jamal Williams are both in your backfield.
You returned a 1,000-yard rusher for your quarterback and running back. That's fantastic. BYU never had that
unprecedented.
before. And they return.
Gary, always nice to hear from a quarterback. We will now allow you to return to your fishing adventures over the summer.
He going fishing.
Hey, well, Jeremy and Spencer, thanks for what you guys do. I enjoy listening to you, and you guys do a great job, and go Cougars.